So it's May the 8th. I thought to do a little garden update, just because we took one back in January when we had no fruit or vegetables on the go. So as you can see, it is a little garden. So we've got some rhubarb. This variety is Timperley Early. So I don't know if you can make that out, but we have got some slug damage on those leaves. This one's Victoria. Not doing as well as the Timperley Early. The slug baffle needs emptying, but to be honest, it hasn't really been working. I suppose it would if I did it properly and sunk it into the ground and had one of those lids on it so that the rain couldn't dilute it, but I've had more success coming out and picking them off by hand at night and disposing of them. So that there is borage, what we've put in for the bees. Really good for pollinators. At the back there we've got some yarrow, that's doing quite well, and some dill there. Got 3 little bushes of thyme, which has spread really quite well since I've put it in. This whole bed really was an experiment because it is on a north facing wall, and also we've got the shade cast by this large acer. So yeah, those are doing well. The dill and the yarrow which we've put in are supposed to be attractive to ladybirds, which, as we all know, are great in the fight against aphids. There we have a Clematis montana. I cut that back so hard last year that I was worried I'd killed it, but actually, as you can see, it's back with a vengeance. And here we have some raised beds that hubby made me when I decided I was going to do a bit of a dig for victory for him and do some fruit and veg growing. So I think these are 10 foot by 3.5. So up the side here we've got lots of rocket, which doesn't matter how much you pick it, it still keeps springing back. Got some petunias, red and white in the front. I'm hoping that they'll spread over the end to give us a bit of colour in the front of the border. Some nice colour on the rainbow chard as well, which is growing great. All these have been grown from seed. Just while we're here, as you can see, we've got some copper piping that runs the entire length of the beds, and that's an anti-slug attempt. I've got to say, looking at the plants which haven't got the copper and the slug holes we've got, the copper does actually seem to be working, because we've got no damage in these beds at all. So let's have a look. We can just put that there a second. Lift this anti-book netting off just for a minute. Here we've got some kohlrabi, which seems to be forming quite nicely. You can see that in there, and next to it is some swede. Bit of spinach there and some kale. Some snapdragons. We are following the square foot gardening method, so in line with recommendations we've got 3 collie, which are doing really well. Those are cauliflower all year round, and behind there we have 2 rows of cabbages, which are greyhound, sown in seed from the spring, and they're coming in leaps and bounds. And at the back there, 1 per square foot, we've got 3 Brussels sprouts, which I'm hoping to have some Brussels on my Christmas dinner this year. They're in our second raised bed. Both of them are netted to keep out the cabbage whites and other creepy crawlies. We've got a couple of rows of garlic in there. Let's lift this netting up, see if we can get a better look. So we got a couple of rows of garlic. I didn't actually put that in till around January, so it is doing quite well. Got some Carmen red onions there next to those. And up the side here on my half a square foot, I've put some smaller crops in, which are spring onions. Got some beetroot there coming on nicely. Those succession sowed, so got some a bit larger, which are a bit more mature there. Smaller ones there. And then at the back, well, I'll show you that when we go around. So these are white onions, these are Rheinsberger, I think I've said that correctly. And next to it we've got some Caratina leeks, still small but they should come on now. In here we've got a row of 5 colour carrots, germinated quite nicely. And then next door, this is quite interesting, I sowed a row of parsnips, and well, I sowed 2 rows of parsnips. Those ones I chitted the seeds first, as you can see they've germinated really well, and then those ones I just put straight into the ground, and well, hardly anything's come up at all, so I think chitting the seeds beforehand is the way to go. There is another row of carrots, but this time a different variety. Those are Flyaway. I wanted to try 2 varieties in case one failed or one got stung by the carrot fly root. Still got a second chance of getting a crop. Let's pull out those bits of grass there. So around this side of the raised bed, let's have a look. A closer look. We've got some radishes. They actually look like they're ready to pull. Let's have a pull of one. To shake. Beautiful. I'll pull some more of those, have those on a salad later. Got some turnips. Those are the little pink and white turnips. And up the side here we've got some calendula. And pop this netting back down to keep the pests out. I've actually got our netting. We've sewn in there, or stapled in there, some heavy wood to keep it down so the wind doesn't blow it up. And in this bucket here, this is a different attempt at parsnips. I saw Terry King's allotment site on YouTube, and he was doing boring holes basically and then putting a finer mix in where you pop the seeds in, so I thought I'd give that a try and just see there's 3 different ways of growing parsnips to see which comes out best, so that'll be interesting. That variety in there is Palace. Over here I have got some Mange 2 growing. These are yellow podded Mange 2 from the Real Seed Company, so they're a heirloom variety. Hoping to get some seeds off those to start my own crop again next year. They're really growing well. So it's only the 8th of May. There's some little seedlings down here. You can tell I watch a lot of YouTube. Sean James Cameron recommended we get some night scented stock, so I've planted up a little pot of that where we sit. Hopefully we'll get a nice smell. And I've been really pleased with these. These are cherry tomatoes, Tumbling Tom variety. And as you can see, there's lots of fruit on there. You can see that it's absolutely smothered in tomatoes. So can't wait to pick those. But excuse us, this is a work in progress. So here we're hoping to put a path in, and we've been told that we're expecting our first grandchild. We're over the moon, so we're going to have a little bit of a area left for play here. At the moment it's just a rubbish site. Those compost bins, we are going to actually have the big square compost bins put behind the polytunnel, which I'll show you in a minute. Here's a current path. We've got a bed that runs up the side of the hot tub, so we're going to have some flowers put in here. Might even put my apple tree in here, and we're hoping to put in a bit of a frog pond. We do have frogs that come in every year, and with having 2 cats, they don't seem to have anywhere to hide, so I thought we'd make a little pond. So apple tree in a pot. It's grown a funny shape because we've moved it. It was grown against a wall, so all the growth is on one side, but it does produce a lot of apples. Had a bit of a trouble with flea beetles on that this year, so following another YouTuber's recommendation, I've done a solution of soap and neem oil, and it seems to be working. So at the moment here we've just got an area dug out. This is hubby's corner, so we'll see what goes in there. Little pot of rhubarb. Beautiful lavender here, the bees are loving that. And a lemon balm. It's a variegated lemon balm. Smells beautiful. Raspberry cane there that my son and his girlfriend bought me for Mother's Day. And this heater used to be on the outside of the old wall. So, new path and a polytunnel that didn't exist a couple of months ago. Put in a bit of a herb bed here, so rosemary, sage, grown from seed this year, thyme of course, some borage again which I've put in for the bees. I have decided, even though that's in the bed, I've kept it in a pot so it doesn't run rampant, and I will be taking the seed heads off after the flowers have gone so it doesn't spread everywhere. It's the first of our little sunflowers growing against the wall, hoping they'll get big. A couple of varieties there, some of the giant yellow ones, and then there's some earth walkers which I believe are red, so they'll be interesting. Got a curry plant there, and a little cutting that I've taken off the mother plant. I've just shown you some variegated lemon balm, chervil, it's a salvia mix, should have big blue spikes on it when it flowers, which the bees should like, and some golden marjoram that we like to use in cooking. There's a path up to my polytunnel, which I'm loving. It's my hot tub. So these again I've grown from seed. These are echinacea, the big pink daisies. And I have put some cosmos in there. I've just noticed one's somehow being pulled out. Nice to see how they grow. And right up the side I've put some spring onions. So I like the idea of having the veg run alongside the flowers, so got some bok choy there next to the little rock plants, which I'm hoping will grow over where the old wall was, so you can't see that unsightly joint. Here we've got an old tree that I'm taking out. I'll do bit by bit. I'm not going to take the stump out, might make a bit of a totem pole or a feature out of it, because the cats like to scratch it and climb up it, so I don't want to remove it entirely. Here, this is the old footboard of my son's old bed, so I thought that might quite make a useful trellis. And there's a butternut squash that I'm hoping will grow up it. It's not in its big pot at the moment because we've still got some cold forecast for this weekend, so I'm just acclimatising it, and then it'll go in the polytunnel tonight, hoping that'll go out after the weekend. Got some lemon balm there, and we've got some garden mint there, beautiful for mint sauce for your Sunday dinner. Spearmint, that one is. Couple of pots of coriander there, some curly parsley, a grain or just a few seeds thrown in, some more dill there, hiding over here from the slugs. And then on this side, got some more pak choy at the front. See there, so we've got some more pak choy, and behind those we've got a row of lettuces, which are intermingled with, these are a dwarf variety of sunflower called Teddy Bear, which is supposed to just have like a fluffy centre rather than the big outer petals. Safely behind the net we've got a row of red cabbage, and growing behind them are some sunflowers. Now those ones are Titan, and next to it again we have some earth walkers. So I've tried to do one yellow, one red, one yellow, one red. Let's see how that comes out. Got some little peas here growing. Those are Havel, a heirloom variety from the Real Seed Company. And here I'm loving this. Hobby made me this. It's a vertical strawberry bed. So we've been short on space, it gives us some extra growing space. So we've got 3 varieties in here. Let's see if we can have a close look. You can just see the top 2 rows actually are Toscana. They're an everbearer, but they're quite unusual. They've got the pink flowers. And then these bigger plants here that are in full bloom, those are June croppers. That variety is Marshmallow. We've got 3 rows of those. They're supposed to have really juicy sweet strawberries that you can't find in the supermarket because they don't keep too well, so I'm looking forward to those. And these down here in the pot are strawberries. Those are Alpine ones, Alexandra. I grew these from seed. One little packet, and I'm not joking, there was absolutely loads of plants. I've given away to friends and family, just loads. And this purple pot here, and we have got another couple of pots. These are pine berries. They're just setting some flowers there. So those are the ones that are, the fruits are white. They're supposed to deter the birds because they think they're not ripe. I've got a currant here. No idea what type of currant because it was given to me by my mum this year. It's never fruited, so she had got it in a pot with some mint and it was strangled, so I've washed it all off and hoping its new home in fresh compost give it some flowers and some fruit. There we've got a couple of verbena. They're supposed to be really enjoyed by the bees. And looking down there, got a hosta and some more of the Alexandra strawberries and that little rockery. You can make those out. As I said, we have got a forecast, a cold snap this weekend, so this here is a yellow courgette. There's some nice markings on the leaves. That's going to go in after the weekend once the cold snap has gone, so it's out during the daytime, as is my bicoloured corn. That's also an heirloom variety, it's bicoloured, so can't wait to see what that's like. I've only got 7 plants, but like I say, it's a small garden, so just be interesting to see what we can grow in this little space. Next door we've got a cucamelon. Again, he's in the polytunnel at nights as well. So this side of the tunnel, Got some more strawberries. Again, those are marshmallows, and you can see a little bit better there, the Toscana with the pink flowers. They're really pretty. Next to that we've got a cranberry bush, enjoying the sun, and four blueberries. So we have had a lot of flowers on the blueberries. As you can see, we've got some there, so I'm hoping we get some nice berries. I love blueberries. Inside the polytunnel, see what we've got going on. So to my left here, that's another tumbling tom, but this time in a pot. It's more upright than the last one, so it has got some little fruit set in there. That was actually grown as a spare in case one of the ones in the basket failed, but didn't have the heart to chuck it out, and it has got a lot of fruit coming on it now. And lots of flowers. Now here we have a row of yellow bell pepper and 2 Palavic chilies, all grown from seed. If you can see on this yellow bell pepper, we have got some little bell peppers actually forming now. There's one, and there. Lots of flowers as well. There's another one. Flowers aren't out yet, but it is absolutely full of bud, and as is this one, so hoping for a bumper crop of yellow sweet pepper. Palavic chilies. I started these seeds off in January indoors under lights, and they have been fantastic. So all these pots have got no bottoms in, so just like you would do with a grow bag, they're going into the main, the roots can go under and into the main beds. I'm saving that little space at the front there for my lemon chili pepper. It's a little experiment I've never tried before. Those are tiger nuts. It's like grass on the top, but it's got edible little, they're not actually nuts, but they look like nuts, and apparently they taste a bit coconutty, so looking forward to those. Got some nasturtium seedlings there. They'll go out again after the weekend once the cold snap's gone. It's absolutely roasting in here. Some bok choy. Some more peas to go out. Now this, I absolutely adore her, Sarracenia. Yep, all my plants are either he or she, and I do speak to them. I am a bit crackers. And she's a bog plant and loves to be sitting in water. I did have her in the house and she wasn't doing very well. She was alive, but I didn't realise just the depth of colour she would have until I popped her in the polytunnel, and she's absolutely loving it. I don't know if you can see here how they throw up new stems. They come out flat and then they open up, so she's quite happy. This is the hubby's project. It is Golden Virginia Nicotine, which is going to go into his corner. It's coming on quite well. We've got some Havana cigar tobacco under some lights inside the house at the moment because we've had to grow them from seed. We didn't get the seed till late. Hello, Miss Pendle. Miss Pendle's come to say hello. It's my cat. Hello, girl. You'll probably see her around a lot. She's not usually very far from me. Some seedlings there, some more cosmos, a couple of chilies. I do absolutely love growing chilies. Some sunflowers. No reason they're in here apart from I can't find them a space outside at the moment. When that bottom bit's done, I'm hoping they'll go along the fence, but they really could do with going out. Now here's a little bit of an experiment. So these 2 chilies here, well, peppers, red bell peppers, I had just a pepper for putting my tea from Sainsbury's, and I decided I'm going to give it a go at growing some seeds, and actually they are coming on quite well. So as you can see, we've got some buds forming in there, so we should get some fruit. Be interesting to see what they taste like, because I know sometimes if they're not a heirloom variety and you just grow a seed, what you expect to get you don't always get. Some other sweet yellow with buds, and another sweet yellow there. I have pinched that out, so hoping it gets a bit bushier. No fruit on that yet. here, this one's a Hungarian black chilli. This is the only chilli I haven't grown myself from seed. I bought it in the garden centre because I love the purple flowers. It was tiny when I had it, about 3 leaves, so it's really come on well. We've got some black chilies there, you can see. Quite unusual. They are supposed to be quite mild, so it will be interesting to see what they taste like. Got a Scotch bonnet up the back. Now the Scotch bonnet was sown later than the Pallavix that it's next to, because I had to wait a long time for the seed because we were in lockdown from COVID-19 and all the deliveries are taking a long time. So it'll be interesting to see if we do manage to get any chilies to ripen on that. That's another supermarket chilli I've just grown a seed from. And here are 2 more of the Pallavix that I showed you earlier. These really have impressed me. It's like, just look at the size of that chilli. It's huge. And the plant is full of them. So, really impressed with those. I'm hoping I really do love the taste of them in my curry because they're such prolific croppers that I will definitely grow some more. Down there we've got a couple of dahlias. And in there I've got some red cabbages. I've got one greyhound in the corner as well. I know that tub's too small, but I'm just waiting for find them a space outside on the beds. A couple of spare tomatoes I grew in case the main ones that you can see here in the halos didn't grow, but they're coming on for smashing. Those 2 are orange banana. They're a heirloom variety, a paste tomato. So they'll be great for spaghetti bolognese or soups or pasta sauces. Next we have a couple of Sungold. I've seen these on some other videos and never grown them myself before. They're supposed to be quite good croppers, so I thought I'd give those a go. And we have one Gardener's Delight. We'll see how that goes. Just glance across at the thermometer. You can make that out, it's 36.2 degrees in here. And quite warm. This is a Volksgiana Grey, a Russian pumpkin. Now I've already got one of these in the ground outside. This one was a spare in case the cold took the other one, so I'm going to leave it in here for a bit just to make sure that the cold snap doesn't claim the other one. 2 more Scotch bonnets. I know that I like those in my curries, nice and hot. And in the back there we have a Parisian pickling cucumber. That's an heirloom variety from Real Seeds. You can apparently grow that big and peel it and use it as a salad cucumber, or you can take the cucumbers small and pickle them like you would a gherkin. Lovely day for me. So, we've got some buckets of potatoes, mind my shadow. I've got in there some early varieties, some Charlottes and some Albert Bartlett Anya. I've also got a couple of tubs of main crop King Edwards and some Sarpo Una, and throughout the garden there's a couple of tubs of early Charlottes. Some more yarrow there, some chives, some more dill. I do like dills in with my gherkins when I pickle them. So to grow a couple of pots of that. There's some red sorrel, which is nice in salads and also looks good in the garden. Make out that. This here is a little dwarf cherry. Did have it bare rooted in the winter time, so there's some nice leaves on it. Some more potatoes there. I'm hoping that's not a huge mistake, putting potatoes into a brown bucket. I didn't realise till afterwards because it's my first time growing potatoes at all. that if the light gets through the container, it can turn your potatoes green, which means you can't eat them. So we shall see. Here we've got an archway that Frank, the better half, put in for me. You can see that in the sun. So what we're going to do there is grow two varieties of squashes up it. We've got some baby boos, which are white ornamental pumpkins for Halloween. And then we've got the mini munchkins, which are edible. So I'm hoping actually that you won't be able to see the mesh in a couple of months. It's going to be covered by the vines. Let's have a look at those. So here's one of the mini munchkins that's already planted in. It seems to be doing okay, holding its own, but I did have another one planted in there by that rock and we lost that due to the cold. So this is one that I've grown in the polytunnel in a pot. It's coming out in the daytimes now to acclimatise, but due to this cold snap we've got coming, I'm not going to plant it in until after that. Probably another couple of weeks for this actually, just to make sure we don't lose it. That there's a butternut squash, hoping that's going to go up that trellis up there. And on this side, that's a spare baby boo. Again, that's going in the polytunnels at nights, just so we make sure we've at least got one. We have got two in. They're not thriving, that one especially. I'm thinking I put them in too early, being an eager beaver, and the cold's not suiting them. These are all snapdragons. Shameful, I know. I grew a packet thinking that a few might germinate and absolutely all of them did. So one thing I need to get better at is thinning out seedlings and disposing of them, because I just don't have the heart and then I end up with pots languishing about. That's a spare Alexander strawberry I popped in there. And then at the front of both arches we have some sweet peas, which I'm hoping are going to climb up this netting. There's one there as well. And that's the other Alskiana grey pumpkin I was talking about that's gone in. It's been in a few weeks actually, seems to be doing okay. Not as big as the other one that's in the polytunnel, but seems to be doing okay. I've got the black membrane down, so if we do have any pumpkins set, they're not going to be sitting in the dirt. We have got some female flowers on there, you can see them with mini pumpkins behind. I'm just hoping that the male flowers, you can see around the stem, are going to come out in time, because I've had female flowers on the baby boos but no males came out in time, so I couldn't pollinate them. This is a dwarf pear. Again, I had this in this winter, bare rootstock. It's full of leaf now, which is good. Got a little pot of chamomile there. I do like a nice cup of chamomile tea. Settles you in the evening. Big tub of sweet peas. In here, I've got some French climbing beans. Again, they're acclimatising to the weather. I'm not going to put them in the ground just yet, because we're due to get down to about 1 degree on Sunday, I believe. But I'm hoping that they're going to grow up that space there and hide that ugly shed and all that clutter you can see behind there. In the bed we've got a couple of rows of calendula and a couple of rows of butterhead lettuce. In front of that we've got some nasturtiums that I've already been brave enough to put out, and they seem to be doing okay. I'm hoping that they grow over the sides a little bit to give us some colour. Those are some peas, which I'm going to put some netting up between those two sticks you can see in the border. I don't want to put that in until I've put the beans in, because it's going to make it quite awkward, I think. And then these are the only onions that I've grown from sets and not from seed. They're a white onion. Just picked them up at the DIY shop, as was at the till. A bit of an impulse buy, but they seem to be doing okay. Not run to seed like I know sets can do, so I'm keeping an eye on that. Underneath that cloche I've got some borlotti beans that I'd already put out. 2 of them the birds had, so I've grown these 2 here to pop in their place. I said that'll be a job for after the weekend's cold snap. And then we've got some flowers, some pansies and snapdragons. A little chard there I've popped in alongside 3 kale. So that's my little garden in May.